It is Saturday, February the 24th, 2024, and I hope that you have had an opportunity to watch the Red Line videos, part 1 and 2, and are remaining grounded in reality as we delve deeper into NASA tropes and the reality of space travel. I'd like for you to consider that currently they are saying they do not have any photography to share due to a lot of problems, which I will share with you in the first clip that I'll show. Secondly, I want you to consider where the footage is gathered, because if I'm asserting that they do not go to the moon and that there's this cinematic element to how colonialism has been shaped to control media and to secure the social environment, as in social security, then you'll appreciate that they have to get it from somewhere that is inaccessible to other people. And that place is the Pacific Ocean, where there are multiple, a ridiculous number of individual islands that most people are not aware of, have even heard of, or have even been to. So I'll share some information on both of these things for you to consider and contemplate, in hopes that people will expand the questions that they have had about this IM-1 mission and all missions related to what I'll now call non-playable character crafting, which is what payload engineering is.
The lander appears to be resting on a rock, elevating it slightly above the surface, based on the power it's generating. He said the foot could also be in a crevice. Focusing back on the future of the mission, he then pointed out, "I was telling you before about the solar panel at the top deck. We had to angle that at about 30 degrees tilt up before landing on the South Pole. Now we've tipped over, and we don't know the health of the solar panel," he said. "There are other solar panels, however they are no longer vertical, which is not ideal." All things considered, they seem to be quite happy with the result, even though the lander is on its side. Taking a closer look at all the payloads aboard also gives us a better idea of how they're affected by the sideways landing. In total, there are 12 payloads, 6 from NASA and 6 commercial. The first commercial payload is from Columbia Sportswear, who is testing a type of lining against the harsh conditions on the moon. It specifically is used for some panel covering, which could have already gained valuable information prior to and even after the landing. Next is the Eagle Cam that I mentioned prior. Since it wasn't deployed during the descent as planned, even though they still want to deploy it, the current position of the lander could hinder this process. It will depend on exactly what side of the lander the cam is on, and whether or not the team still want to deploy it. Next is the art, which includes a number of sculptures called moon faces. You then have ILO-X, which includes a miniaturized dual-camera lunar imaging suite, one wide field and one narrow field. Its goal was to aim and capture some of the first images of the Milky Way galaxy center from the surface of the moon, as well as performing other celestial astronomy. The sideways landing will definitely hinder this process, but the camera can likely still view some of its original targets. The last 2 commercial payloads include a secure lunar repository and a data center, which neither should be affected by the landing. That is, unless various antennae are blocked. As for the NASA payloads, you then have the RFMG, or radio frequency mass gauge. This uses radio waves and antenna in Novacy's tank to measure exactly how much propellant is available. By now, this tech has already been operating and gathering data even before the landing.
So let's begin by talking about this fact. Imagine that you're on a boat at approximately these coordinates. You're in the Pacific Ocean, just slightly off the coast of Chile and Peru in South America. Then, imagine you got in a submarine, submerged all the way to the bottom of the ocean, and then drilled all the way through the Earth out to the other side of the world and came up on the other side. After doing all of that, you would still find yourself inside of the Pacific Ocean, specifically the Gulf of Tonkin, just off the coast of Vietnam and China. The Pacific Ocean is so massive that it contains several of its own antipodes, or spots on the opposite side of the world that remain in the same ocean. But we're just getting started here. There